Probably the most common filters used are colour conversion filters. Put simply, they change the colour temperature of your lights. High definition video is a lot more sensitive to colour changes than film or standard definition, and it's a mistake to think that you can correct everything in the edit. If you're using 2 or more different sources, you must balance them before pressing the record button. Otherwise, you end up in the situation in post-production where the editor tries to balance one light source only to put out the others. The 3 main types of colour conversion are blues, oranges and magenta greens. The blues are used to increase the colour temperature by taking away the red and yellow end of the light source. Orange, on the other hand, takes away the blue end of the spectrum. Don't forget, filters don't add a colour, they subtract away from it. Oh, and they come in different strengths, from full or even double strength down to 1/8, which just gives a hint of colour. So if you were looking to warm up a light a tad, you could use a half or even a quarter strength filter. CTO is also being used more and more to convert cool white LEDs. These produce light with a different spectrum compared to HMI or discharge sources, so Lee have developed a set of digital CTO filters specifically for converting cool white LEDs to tungsten. Where this is useful is in saving time and kit, especially if you're using light panel or light pad type units. You only need 1 set of luminaires for the day and night interiors, simply adding CTO or digital CTO to change from daylight to tungsten. A lot of the early LED sources were around the 7000 Kelvin mark, which is why the range starts with a 622, a stronger than normal CTO. Also, since each make of LEDs has unique characteristics, the range allows for fine-tuning of the filter to the unit to get the right skin tones. We've talked about CTO, which stands for colour temperature orange. There's another filter which is also an amber colour, namely CTS or colour temperature straw, which is also used to convert daylight to tungsten, but it has a slight yellow bias which can give a warm sunlight effect. CT straw is also good for flash units or strobes indoors, where you want to match the colour temperature of the flash unit with the ambient light. Converting tungsten light to daylight is very inefficient. Tungsten has a lot at the red end of the spectrum and very little at the blue, so using a full blue CTB will lose you 2 stops of light. Another way to compensate would be by putting CTO in front of the window, thereby changing the daylight into tungsten, but it takes quite a long time and a lot of filter. Since a slightly blue background in an interview situation isn't always a bad thing, you can often get away with using a half blue or half CTB on tungsten lighting and white balancing to about 4300 Kelvin. CT blues and orange can also be used to suggest a time of day or to add to a mood if used subtly. Keeping the key light correctly balanced, in this case at 4300 Kelvin, adding a blue gel cools the atmosphere and can give the impression of night. If, on the other hand, we want to suggest sunlight, using a colour temperature orange or colour temperature straw will give the effect of rays of warm sun. We've only just touched on what you can do with colour conversion filters, but I hope it's given you an idea of what can be achieved.